Hi guys, and welcome to the first episode of the Stoic Performance podcast. I'm Matty Green, and on today's podcast we have someone called Ryan Barrett, who is a personal trainer from Leicester, who is a former Royal Marines Commando, and someone I met almost 20 years ago when we started training together. First attempt, he didn't quite make it. He got all the way through and ended up getting injured right at the last hurdle, which we'll go into in the podcast. He then left training, rejoined again, and I crossed paths with him almost 10 years later when he was back in training, and then he went through and ended up passing, which was an unbelievable attempt to get through. And the second time of asking. Unfortunately, then he ended up getting a inflammatory gut disease, which he'll go into during the episode and how he's dealt with that. But his never say die attitude, he does not quit. It's an absolute pleasure to know him and pleasure to have him on as a first guest. So hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you in later videos. All right, sweet. So yeah, how are you doing? What's new? BKB?
Just the BKB thing, mate, and obviously with the PT thing, just doing online like as we are now. That's the only thing we can do, really.
Yeah. How have you found the transition from doing in person to online training?
Quite easy, to be honest, because the sort of stuff that I do doesn't really require a gym. So with like obviously experience from sport, from the Marines. I mean, we had a PTI, didn't we, from when we started. So it's pretty easy to work out what to do. I think more conventional personal trainers who like need gym kit and everything might struggle, but I found it quite easy, to be honest.
Yeah, good. Obviously, the best thing to do is just with body weight. It's all you need, really. Like we don't
Mate, yeah.
But Ryan, I wanted to get you on because I think your story is unreal. How you've kind of dealt with the things you've dealt with. But let's start like right from the beginning. Like myself, we joined the Marines 18 years ago, mate. 18 years ago now.
2002.
2002.
Yeah.
We were the young ones, weren't we? We were very young in the troop.
16 and a half.
Yeah. So I just turned 17. But so let's take us back to then. Why did you want to join the Marines in the first place?
Basically, I'd been playing rugby at a top level. I was like in the pathway in the academy set up to being a professional rugby player. But I had something more that I wanted to do to escape my environment and do something different that no one in my family had done. I've had other memories of family in the military, but no one in the Marines. So I wanted to try and do something to top everyone else in my family. I had to and just to escape, like kind of what was going on at home.
Yeah.
So it's common for a lot of lads, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. Had you done any boxing previous to joining?
Yeah. So I'd boxed since I was probably 4 years old. My dad was a boxer, so there was always a bag in the garage. He used to let us come back with all the rugby lads and spar in the garage and things like that. So something I've always done.
That's something I didn't know you'd done when we was in training. I remember we used to do a little bit in the grots with Fuller, and Ben Hammett and that was kind of Kev Donnelly head kicking me, but I never defended a head kick in my life until Kev Donnelly kicked me in the head.
Yeah.
But so going through training, kind of tell us what happened. Obviously, when you was in our troop and 839 troop, was it injury that kind of?
Yeah, no, it wasn't an injury. Basically, I was keeping up with regards fitness. I think I was in the top 10 in the troop, like with your sort of self. But I was struggling with the application of like just attention to detail, not taking things in well enough, because I think I was a bit too immature for it. and I was thinking of it more of just getting through training rather than the job at the end. And I think that kind of showed when it comes to like criteria aspects that let myself down on. And I struggled fucking map reading. I can't map read now still. So so yeah, something that was well, I left 839 troop at week 14 after failing practice run, which is like the halfway point criteria test.
Yeah.
So then I was like, went through the process of then relearning, going into different troops, etc., etc., etc. Then I did my commando test, passed every single commando test, and then on the 30 miler, a lad called Josh Eli, who was in our troop original,
Yeah.
he went down on the last leg, and our whole syndicate had to do the rerun. And then on the rerun, he went down. Somebody went down and was Kazakh on that again. So after passing all the tests by the 30 miler and the rerun, I had to do all my tests again, which I did, passed everything. And then on Finelex, I think I was debussing out of a helo, and I got an open fracture of my leg. My tib and fibra had stress fractures, and that was pretty much the end of the game for me. It's as a recruit, because
And
I'd been
what
through.
troop was that with?
I can't. I couldn't honestly tell you
So
because
when you left,
I'd been in and out of troop so much. I did a commando test, and then I had the problem with the stress fractures, and then basically just took a punt to do Finelex with the injury, which I did, but then obviously crimped it with it at the end.
yeah, and
So
then
when I came out then, I came out due to injury, but also I'd had enough. And it was like my body was wanting too immature, and I was too immature myself to progress. And I think I realised that. Like at the end, I was there at the end, and I was good enough in all respects. But I think it was I was good enough in all respects on paper, but not actually. If I'd had to go on the ground, I wouldn't have been good enough. And I think that was known by obviously the training establishment. That's the best
so
way I can think of it, of putting it.
so how long from starting the first time in September 2002 to then taking you up to Final X, breaking your tib and fib? How long was that?
2012, 10 years.
No, so
I
the
passed
first
that in
time,
2012.
because you
I
left,
rejoined in 2011.
yeah. So
Yeah, I can't remember what year it was.
when you left the first
Yeah,
time,
yeah.
was that 2003 you left?
2004 or 5. I
Yeah.
was nearly there 4 years.
So you'd been in training you've been at Limpston for a long time, haven't you?
Yeah, about 4 years.
Yeah, just constantly
I
in
was
and
lads
out.
I was in training with coming back on juniors, and I was still in a recruit.
Yeah. So obviously you'd had enough by then, that point, and then you left. Tell us what happened after leaving the first time between there and rejoining for the second time.
When I left, I played professional rugby. I played for a team called Rugby Lions, who are in National League 3. I played for them, and then obviously I've always had the mindset of nothing's ever enough. So I was at National League 3, which was above and beyond really my kind of playing ability. But I always had belief above my ability, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to try and get in the National 1 team. And I turned up, and I was tiny. Everyone else was probably like in steroids and big in the gym. I was tiny, mate.
And you're
And
not small, though, are you? You're not
I'm
small.
not. I'm not now, but I was then. And I got there, mate, and I was just like the whipping boy. And it was as an academy. They had me in the academy, which was a bit of a blow going from being a. So I was like, oh fuck this, I'll show you lot. So I started just coming to the what everyone else was getting paid for, all the other sessions. I started going to for free. By the end of that season, I'd made it into the squad, like just from grafting, which has kind of been my key to success with everything I've ever done. I've had to get there the hard way, but I do eventually.
Where do you think that mindset's come from? I never give up.
Definitely from I think from my grandma. That's been put into me through my grandma. Cause like I say, I won't touch on what was going on at home, but I was basically raised by my grandma. She just put into me that to believe anything you put your mind to, you can do. And if you've not done it recently, it's because you've not tried hard enough, you've not carried on long enough, you've given in. So I've got that belief, and I believe that to this day, that whatever it is you set your mind to, you can do if you're willing to go through the process. The process might be taking 10 years to get your green lid, which I did. Same with boxing. Like when I started out boxing, I thought going from being a professional rugby player, I was going to be the bollocks at it, and it turned out not to be the case. But again, with that, mate, I stuck at that. When most people like, it's a long way travelling up and down the motorway with a broken jaw after you've fought, yeah, and then back in the gym the next day. But I stuck at it and ended up like my last fight I had ulcerative collitis. It was 2 weeks before I had my operation, and I beat the heavyweight rank number 3 in the country. So I ended up being all right in the end.
That's awesome. You did some sparring with Chris Eubank Jr. as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Chris Eubank Jr., Mark Godbeer, who's world bare knuckle heavyweight champion.
Yeah.
Who's also Bellator MMA world champion. So I've been in good company, you know.
Yeah, definitely.
More through having more balls and brains, I
think. So when obviously you'd left the Marines first time,
yeah,
gone on to play rugby. Now we through social media, through Facebook, we kind of reconnected. You know,
yeah,
back end of early 2000s, whenever.
You are Afghanistan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that'd be 2009-ish, and then I find out you're gonna go for it again. Now, what possessed you? Why did you want to go for it again after doing it for so long?
Because it was as well. I'd got to that point in 2011 where I was winning. Every time I got in the ring, I was doing well, and I was like, I'd been down to Brighton, and people were interested in me in going professional, and it was like I narrowly lost winning the championships by 1 point this Sunday before I went on the PRMC. I went on the PRMC with no preparation. I was just kind of like, if I can't pass the PRMC, then I shouldn't be there. But
so the PRMC,
doing what I've done, if I can pass the PRMC with no prep, then I still want to do it.
Yeah. So that PRMC is a potential Royal Marines course where you go down to Livingston, 3 days. They put you through it to see if you're good enough. Obviously, you've gone there just winging it.
No preparation, 2 black eyes, like. And I just thought if it's really still in me, I'll get to the end, and I did. I started training 2 weeks after that.
Because we then reconnected in person at Livingston, didn't we? Because I was on a training team by this point, and I just thought my hat was completely off for you. I couldn't believe seeing you in there again, knowing what you'd been through, and absolutely determined to smash it. And I think was one of my good mates was on your team. I think Couple Fort Pikey. And yeah, my hat was taken off. So obviously we're almost like a decade between starting when we first started and starting again. Now, what was the difference like for you between that kind of generation almost of lads, like from the team? I mean, like training teams and obviously the lads you were with. Was there any differences between them, or?
I found that people that are at CTC now, when I went back in training, were there because they were the top instructors. Whereas it was like when we was in training, people were there on like a shit draft, maybe because they'd fucked up or something like that. And it was like they did not want to be there. They despised being there. And it was almost like everything was to try and make you fail. Whereas second time round, they were giving you the instruction to enable you to pass. And if you didn't pass, obviously that's on you, because the instruction was, I felt, was far better, and it was constructive instead of destructive. I
Yeah.
felt like the first time through training, it was all done to make you rap. Whereas the second time, obviously, there's still that element to it, but they're giving you the tools to get to the end, if you know what I mean. But you
Yeah.
have to take it and apply yourself to it. Whereas before, it was kind of just like, I was just in a whirlwind of just getting everything wrong constantly and just fighting to survive. Whereas I get some stuff wrong the second time, I hold my hands up and I'll go, look, I'm fucking up on this. Can someone help me? And someone did, and that was the difference.
I think when I was going through like the training to become an instructor down there, there was a big emphasis on coaching and
Yeah,
developing the person in front of you rather than just thrash, because
yeah,
they you have to learn. You learn so quickly, you get tested on it, and then you move on. So
yeah. You kind of just learn just to pass the test.
yeah, and you only truly learn when you go out into the unit. And
Yeah, that's exactly right. But the coaching was there. Instead of someone being pissed off with you because you fucked up again, someone would then try and coach you back to coach you right so you could pass. Instead of just thinking, well, this lad's not getting it, and just keep annihilating you. But I obviously, the thing that got me to the end eventually was the thing that kept me in training the first time, that I just won't fucking give in. But that also then, I think with the instructors at the time, became well, let's just keep annihilating this idiot until he's done, sort of thing. So I think what was my key to success the second time round was also part of why I didn't succeed in the first instance,
yeah,
because it was
so
more about, for me, just getting to the end and learning what it was I was doing. So the second time I went there with, I need to learn this shit because this is going to keep me and my pals alive if I get to do the fucking job at the end. If I get to the end, I was learning to do the role of a Marine instead of trying to get to the end of the training.
yeah. So when you finally made it, tell me about that.
I'll be honest, mate, I stood behind the curtain and I thought, fucking hell, I've done all this before. I was expecting to feel a great feeling. I just thought, you know what? You've made the last life hour in a period, 10 years of your life misery because you got all the way to the end. And I was like, and you'd done it. But I then went on. I enjoyed training because I felt like I was in the position I felt I should have been the first time through for the effort I put in. Like, and I felt like that was just kind of swept under the rug. Like, this bloke's, I'd done my Commando test twice with stress fractures, and I was still a knobber. Yeah, with the second time through, it was almost like people kind of seen the effort that I did put in. Where it was the first time, it was no one gave a fuck that I was still there, still trying. 4 years on, it was just like, oh, this, like I was like a bit of a joke, and
Yeah,
I felt like I'd put that right.
definitely. I mean, like it was, must have been such a long decade, 10 years. I'd
It was a
finished,
nightmare for me, mate.
I'd,
Worst time of my life.
yeah, I'd pretty much finished my career while you were just starting. I left in
Yeah,
June 2012. So I'd at that point had enough. And for me, it was time to get out, and I got out at the right time. But where did you end up going? Where did you go when you passed out
I
of
went
training?
to 4-2 company, 4-2 Commando M company.
M company, nice.
We went straight away. So 6 weeks. We went straight away to America. So I was there 6 weeks, just basically. So it's kind of like an acid test the first time we went away.
Yeah.
It was just when I got there, it was just ramping up to go on Black Alligator.
And what was that? What was you doing on that?
So it was like live firing, building up section, troop, company, like live firing
Did you
on
do
the
any work
ranges out
with
there.
the US Marines or anything like that?
Yes, yeah. So we're on like adjacent ranges with and things like that. We did like a big unit like attack at the end, which was really good. But it was just mad to be out there and see the difference and realise what a difference actually getting through the course actually makes, and how much of a difference it actually makes when like now I see the difference now in me compared to 90% of people, and just the way that your mentality is, and like your conviction and your intention is so different to everybody else.
Yeah. So what happened? How long was you in the Marines from 2012 to?
Basically, 2013, I got diagnosed with ulcerative colitis. So
Yeah.
I had a year in the unit after all that, and I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, which basically means I was going toilet, passing blood, like up to 60 times a day,
Wow.
which was not ideal. So then I carried on for about a year with keeping it to myself, really. Carried on for a year, went on Cougar, which is like a 6-month deployment, and then I came back and I was on a SFC briefing course, and just like the last thing on there, I was doing really well throughout the course, hanging on by a thread. But by this point, then I was I was like a physical specimen by then. I'd got myself in really good shape, and that was when I got there. Because of obviously the condition, I was just like a shadow of myself. Like things that normally would have been like you could do after a full day were like it's taking every ounce of effort for me to get done. And I came off on the roller coaster, and then basically told the DS what was going on, and that was it. Then I was basically on sick leave, and then got sent to move to Hasler Company, basically for like medical discharge.
And
So I
what year?
gave that a good go, even though I was still, and like some of the lads knew and could see how much I was suffering with it. But to me, I weren't I weren't stopping until I was stopped.
Yeah. Did when you got medically discharged, have they looked after you at all, or just?
Well, I had a good resettlement package to get the PT thing that I'm now doing. I was did all my courses through that, and I was given kind of I had to turn two for 2 years. But it was kind of like an unkept secret that I was going and training in the boxing gym, because I knew basically the PTIs, doctors, and everything were like, "Oh, it's unrealistic for you to even." I told everyone that I was going to get down to the weight of 91 kilos, and they were like, "At this point, I was 28 kilos above that, so I can't remember what the weight was." And I was like, "I'm going to get down to 91 kilos," and they were all saying, "Oh, you're delusional. You're going to make yourself ill through trying to do it." But my goal was to get down to 91 to fight, because they
Yeah.
told me I wouldn't be able to fight anymore. So, unbeknown to everybody else, my goal was to get down to 91 kilos so I could fight again. And I did. I got down to 91 kilos and I had 2 fights before I had my operation, which obviously was going to stop me being able to compete. So whilst in Asda Company, I trained so I could fight,
Right.
and ended up fighting twice.
Yeah. How did that go on?
Well, I lost one by which was like a close split decision against a lad who was 6'7". When we got there, I was like, "Oh, for fuck's sake! Why can't I ever get anyone my own size?" So, but that was a brilliant one for me, because I took that fight with no notice. I wasn't in the boxing gym at all, but I told my coach I was, and I got there, and he looked at me and he was like, Are you ready for this?" I was like, "We'll find out. We'll soon find out." So I rolled the dice again, just I wanted to do it regardless of I got knocked out or not. And after the first round, I thought, fuck it, I'm going to go for it. And like turn the whole fight around and lost by like a narrow split decision.
Yeah.
So after that, then I spent like Sergeant Major was a keen boxer. And I told him, and he was to give me some sick leave so I could go home and train. I won't mention his name, so I don't want to get him in trouble. But he gave me some sick leave so I could go home. I trained for the last one, and like I say, did really well. I managed to put the final nail on the coffin for my boxing career myself.
Good. So you went out on a high, kind of.
Yeah, went out with a win.
And how are you dealing with it now?
Well, now I've had 3 operations since, so that's been a saga on its own. I had sepsis twice that I should have died from. Respiratory arrest from a morphine overdose that I should have died from. But moving on from that, I've now got a colostomy bag. I chose to have it done externally so I could still be involved with boxing and coaching. Because if you have it internally and you say you were punched in the stomach, it could rupture, which could lead to obviously serious complications or death. So I had a choice to have it externally. And I remember saying I'm never going to get a blowjob again. And my dad actually said to me, son, if you can't cope with the fact that you're going to have that, then you're not the person you've portrayed yourself to be all these years. If you've not got enough character to deal with the fact you've got to have that, then you're a fraud, basically. So my dad put it on me.
Yeah.
And first time after I'd had it done, I went out on a training holiday in Thailand. And the colostomy bag's then with like an hearing aid beige. I could see all people looking on it, so I just thought, fuck it. I wrote on it, "Hi, my name's Steve" on the thing. So if anyone's like, "Oh, I was like, oh, it's Steve my stoma." And that for me kind of like, that was what was a turning point for me, because I was hiding away to start with, like I feel most people do. So I kind of made it a joke, made it like an issue, and I realised then it wasn't an issue for anybody else.
Yeah, it's not going to define you whatsoever.
No, not at all. I've got ulcerative colitis. Like, it's not got me. That's my thing,
100%.
and that's what I'm trying to do now with posts and things I do through social media, is to try and show other people who think it's life ending rather than life changing. Yeah, there's life after surgery. There's life after a stoma. You can carry on. You can still achieve. You can still fucking do the things that you set out to do. Just because you've got a bag of shit on your hip, it doesn't make no difference. Shouldn't stop you doing anything. That's how I look at it, mate. I look at it as like, that's all it is.
No, it's an amazing mentality to have, mate, to think of it like that, and to prove to other people as well that it's not going to show you.
That's it. I want to see other people who maybe not got the mindset that I've developed through being in the Royal Marines or lived the life that I have. That there are people out here doing stuff with it, and that maybe might help them to do more of the self, to ask more of the self then. Because they may believe that, like I did, oh, fucking hell, this is going to change everything.
Yeah.
But for me, it's not changed a thing. I'm still me, just with a bag. Like, it's nothing.
Brilliant.
And my thing is to try and help other people with that now.
So are you obviously personal training? Is that what you're looking at to do long term? Is there anything
Yes, mate. Yeah, that's like in between, obviously, illness and things like that. That is what I'm looking to do. Looking to try and help people. Like, I was bullied as a kid, so that's where the boxing thing comes in now. I want to try and help other people so they don't feel vulnerable. So they don't feel how I felt. So through boxing, like building people's confidence, because like I say, that was another thing that helped me get back into Marines, was the discipline. I refound the discipline that I had in the Marines through boxing, and that's again now how I've managed to turn a negative situation into a positive situation, is using the mentality that I used in training of just never giving in, keep going no matter what. And if you've got conviction in what you say, you'll find a way. If not, you'll find a way out. And that's basically what I found to be true in Marines training.
And I've seen you've been training others to get in the military.
Yes, mate. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So at our gym, we've got a varying different of personal trainers. There's another lad who's been in training himself, but I'm very different to how other people are in the gym, shall we say. So
Yeah.
I don't change at all. And with people who are going through the military training, I make it for them how it is going to be. So realistic. So if people are late, they get punished for being late. If people aren't putting the right effort in, they get punished for that, because that is what they're going to get. And I've had 100% success of anyone who's been. So I've had 2 lads get into the Marines, 2 lads in the Navy, and 1 lad get into the Army. And I think that's just because I've given them a realistic expectation of what to expect, and I've got into them in the gym stage, in the comfort setting of all you've got to do to get to the end is keep fucking going, and you'll be there at the end. Be there at the end. Don't go far wrong. There's a lot of people, as soon as it gets hard or uncomfortable, as you know, don't want to do it anymore. Whereas if you can get that in the gym, where you carry on even when you're tired and fatigued, which to someone who like yourself, it's just something that don't even enter your head that you're going to stop. Yeah, people who have got aspirations of joining something like that don't realise that it's like that. Think if they start crying, it's going to stop. Well, it's not. You know what I mean? You've got to carry on regardless. So it's trying to just get that mentality across to people.
Yeah. Awesome. And so doing the personal training and dealing with obviously ulcerative colitis, doing an absolutely cracking job. And again, like going back to seeing you when I seen you in training again, I was just absolutely made up for you. To see that you'd come through. I don't know anybody who's gone back, after about 10 years to try and do it again, and you smashed it. And you carrying that on into the future, and to see you dealing with that and how you've dealt with it, absolutely hat off to you, mate. Unbelievable.
Thank you, pal.
But so just to finish off with, mate, if you could kind of like, give people three words of advice of how to kind of deal with any adversity, or just to kind of keep going, what would you kind of say to someone?
It's just know that it's going to end at some point. Like with anything, like with me with the surgeries and all that, I just had it in my head, yeah, it's shit now, but all I've got to do is just keep a smile on your face, have a laugh, don't take yourself too seriously. Like with things like this can be embarrassing. Yeah, the way around any embarrassing, have a laugh, make a laugh at yourself, don't take yourself too seriously, and never fucking give in. Simple as that. And it just the way that I do it, so I look at things like, I relate things to me giving in. So if it's a negative outcome that I don't want to happen, I relate that to giving in. So for instance, if I don't get up in the morning, that's me, I've given in. Yeah, so I relate everything to that, because I know that's one thing that's rooted in me that I can't allow myself to do. So I try and make that work for me in a positive way in any area. So like, I'm not studious, yeah, but studying to get my level 4, like, that's for me. I'd rather be in the gym, I'd rather be doing a million other things, but I was like, if I'm not doing this, and that's me giving in. Yeah, so I relate everything back to that, because that's a core value I hold in me to this day, that I do not give in. And that's where I find value daily from, in gaining value, gaining like confidence in your own self and conviction. By, if I set out to do something, I fucking do it no matter what.
Awesome, mate. Nice one. So if anybody wants to find you on Instagram or Facebook, what's your
yeah, on Facebook, I'm on Facebook as Romeo Bravo. Yeah, and my Instagram is at the School of RB 1664.
Put them in the description below. Just want to say thank you for your time, Ryan. It's been much appreciated, mate. And
wicked man. Thank you very much.
Hey, thank you, buddy. Take care.